Several people have been asking on how to do recordings for virtual choirs. What you need is an app called a multi-track recording app. In this case, I'm using Studio One Prime, which is PreSonus's free version of their Studio One digital audio workstation. To start, we click on Create a New Song and name it. Then we set the audio quality. We can leave that at 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit, which is CD quality. Now, the first thing we need to do is bring in our tracks to record with. Here I'm bringing in the voice recording tracks and offsetting it from the beginning to give it a little bit of breathing room once we start their actual recording. We can also bring in the individual MIDI tracks. So now we'll bring in the 4 different parts just to demonstrate you can bring 4 in all at the same time. Drag and drop those in place. Now that those are complete, you can show that can hover over the top and use a scroll wheel to zoom out to see more of the song. And we can go and mute the individual tracks that we don't need to record. I'm using the tenor as a sample to record with. Also, you can see as we hover over the top part of a track, it becomes a crosshair that will let us select a start marker and select a section of the track. Whereas if you hold it on the bottom section of the line, that will let you select the entire section of the track. Now we need to add our track to record to. That can be done by right-clicking in the section below the other tracks or by hitting T. I'll pull up the dialog box. We can name the track and we can set it to whether it's mono or stereo, preferably mono in this case. Now we can demonstrate why we're setting this up. If we hit the play button or hit spacebar to play, then we can start it playing back what we have. So you notice the different audio meters around, and we can actually go and select at the bottom to turn off all the mutes and hear everything at once. The S button will do the same for the solos. That didn't sound very good because my video recording software recorded that too hot. If you notice in the bottom right, there's a red mark next to the audio levels meter. That's indicating that the overall mix was clipping. If you see that next to the track that you're recording, that means you're recording too hot and you need to turn down the gain on your microphone or back off from it a bit. Next thing we need to do is arm the track for recording. That is done by clicking the record button on the individual track. You'll also want to turn off monitoring probably because that plays back what you're saying back into your headphones, which can throw you off. Notice now we're getting a little bit of audio in the meter next to that track. We can start recording either by clicking the circle down the middle or hitting star on the numpad. That's good enough for now. We can actually go and expand the track to see more by pulling down on the bottom. And we can scroll through and show that if we have a mistake somewhere, we can actually go and re-record over it. If we say that we made a mistake in the second phrase, we can back up a little bit before that, clicking at the top, and then we can start recording again. Then once we're past that, then we can zoom in and move till we have the 2 white arrows. If you see only one, it won't work. If you do 2, then you can drag it in. Might need to zoom in to see it, and just drop it in between the 2 phrases where there's some silence. If you don't, then sometimes they'll get some clipping sounds. And then do it on the start of the phrase, and we can over here at the top and show that we're not quite in time, but it gives you an example of how you can use that to check. Now we can go and check ourselves by soloing only the tracks that we want to listen back to. In this case, I like to listen to the MIDI and the track I just recorded. That way I can hear if I'm on pitch or not. And the recording here is a little bit quiet, so we can use the slider underneath the controls on the individual track to turn it up. But this also demonstrates why you don't record on a standard laptop microphone, because it's not very good quality. Now, for sake of time, I'm just dragging and dropping in my previous recording, which exports as stereo. And now we can listen back through it. And once we're satisfied, we can work on exporting it. So we need to select the practice track and then solo only the track we want to export. Now you can go to the songs list up at the top and say export mix down. Give it a name. Make sure we're exporting in 44.1 kilohertz 16-bit. And we want to select between loop because that will make sure it's the same length as our practice track when we export. Now that it's done, we can send this file to our audio engineer. Hope that helps.